Welcome back to my channel at The Movie Optimist, where I try and find the silver linings in even the worst of films. There's been a bunch of fans speculating that they think they've figured out who James Gunn is casting as Batman, and it's based off of something that David Cornsweet did on his social media. For those of you who don't know, I made a video about a year ago talking about who I think are the top 10 choices to be Batman, and over the course of the year, the person that I had in 10th place has moved on up to first place. And that person is the person that fans are speculating is the new Batman right now. And I just want to discuss briefly why I think where there's smoke, there's fire. Now, nothing's confirmed, nothing is 100%. I wouldn't take it to the bank, but like I said, where there's smoke, there's fire, and there's a lot of little things happening that definitely paint a picture like it could be true. And that person that I'm talking about is Brendan Sklenar. Now, when I first heard the fan casting for this character, I had no idea who it was, but I put him on there because I thought he looked the part, and I watched a couple scenes of him acting and things on YouTube, and I was like, yeah, he pulls off a charismatic Bruce Wayne. He's got a nice hairline, a good jaw, he's tall, he's young enough to play the character for the next 15 years, so I was like, yeah, I could buy it, I'll put him on the list.
Reception, that was a consummation. One could argue.
That effect. Or we could just skip dinner altogether.
Approve of the dress, I see.
You'll look great draped over that chair.
But after watching 1923, that entire 2 seasons was literally his audition for the role of Batman because he is playing Bruce Wayne in that TV show.
Got about 30 seconds of bullshitting me. Then I'm gonna mop the fucking floor with you.
If you haven't seen it, watch it, because it's one of the best TV shows of the last decade. It's a big, epic adventure with a beautiful romantic love story in it, and it has hard-hitting Western action. It's just such a stellar show. But like I said, he is Bruce Wayne in the show, and I'm talking Bruce Wayne from the animated series. He just nailed it. Now, the things that have happened that made me kind of move him up the list to number 1 are the things I want to talk about here. And then, firstly, it's going all the way back to an interview that Brendan Sklenar had where someone asked him about the role of Batman. And it's the thing he said that I was like, I really love that, because I've been a big proponent of people that love certain things, making that thing that they love. If somebody is going to make a Superman movie, I want it to be someone that loves Superman. You got James Gunn, who loves Superman. If someone's going to play Mario in a movie, I want them to have grown up playing the video games, which Chris Pratt did. I like when people that have an affinity for something to portray that thing, because they're going to bring heart into the thing that it is that they're doing. And Brendan Sklenar talked about how he grew up running around the backyard dressed up as Batman, reading the comic books, playing the games, watching the movies. When he was asked about Batman lore, he knew it like just off the top of his head. He was able to like talk about like the villains and the different Robins and stuff like that. And then you go to somebody like Anthony Mackie, where in an interview he's asked what villain he would want to go up against as the Captain America character, and he couldn't think of a single Captain America villain, so he just said the X-Men.
You've mentioned the possibility of getting another Cap movie down the line. Who's a villain from the comics we haven't seen yet that you'd love to square up against?
That's hard. I don't know. Who would you say?
For me, Scourge.
Like, clearly he's never read the comics, so he doesn't know all that stuff, and that's fine. I still love Anthony Mackie as the new Captain America, but it's like sometimes actors are just hired to play a part, and they have no love for it. Christian Bale openly talks about how he doesn't read comic books, he doesn't care for comic book characters, but, you know, it was a role that he took seriously because he knows it's an icon for children, and he wanted to bring that to life, but he doesn't necessarily love the character of Batman. Brendan Sklenar loves Batman. So that's the first thing where I was like, okay, he went from 10th to like 8th in my pick of who I want to play Batman. But then little things started happening, like in the history of James Gunn running DC, he has never openly talked about watching TV shows. He doesn't really talk about watching movies either, but he never just outright says in public, I've been watching this movie or I've been watching this show. And when someone asked him about a show that he was watching, he openly said 1923. And when they said, is it because you're checking out Brendan Sklenar as Batman? He said, no, I'm just watching it because I like the show, I like the creator, and I wanted to watch it. But he's never openly talked about watching anything else before, and James Gunn is also somebody that everything is calculated. He doesn't say anything anymore, especially after the controversy he went through, unless it's been thought about in his head and there's a reason for saying it. So I kind of thought that that was interesting, and he could say whatever he wants. He could say that he was just watching it because he likes Tyler Sheridan and he likes the shows he makes. He was watching it because he is scouting for Batman, because he knows more so than Superman that Batman is going to be arguably the most important casting that he's going to make, because Batman is the most popular DC character, and it's also going up against Matt Reeves' Batman, whom everybody loves right now. So if he's going to make a Batman movie, it has to be better, if not just as good as the Matt Reeves Batman. And he's also coming off the heels of Christopher Nolan's Batman movies and Ben Affleck's, which were wildly beloved. So he has to get this perfect. So of course, watching that show, he was scouting to see if Brendan Sklenar was in fact a good Batman, because Brendan Sklenar has been such a loud fan cast, he'd have to be crazy to not at least look over it and consider it. Then Brendan Sklenar posted a picture on his Instagram where he was absolutely yoked, like jacked out of his face. And he was working with a trainer that was known for getting superheroes into shape. And what I mean by that is he was known for getting actors who portray superheroes into shape. And I don't think it's a coincidence that he's going to this guy to get bulked up, because if you look at his IMDb, he's not in any roles that require him to be Alan Richardson or Arnold Schwarzenegger size. He's got a couple movies coming out, one of them very soon with Sydney Sweeney. He doesn't need to be jacked for that, and he's coming out with another Tyler Sheridan movie where he's playing like an ex-military guy, but he doesn't need to be super jacked that role. I mean, look, the military is jacked, but they're not this jacked. Like, this is too jacked. Like, you wouldn't be able to do the CQC and maneuvers and stuff. I mean, I guess you could, but it's just, there's no reason why you'd put your body through this kind of superhero godlike transformation for a role like that, is what I'm saying. So clearly he's got something cooking that nobody knows about. And for those of you who don't know, when Ben Affleck was announced as Batman to the world, he was already cast as Batman for like almost a year prior to that. They just wanted to wait for the right time to tell people. So there's a lot of speculation out there that James Gunn met with him and was like, I want you to be my Batman. I just don't want to announce it for a year until you make your first on-screen cameo at the end of Man of Tomorrow or something like that. I'm sure everyone thinks that we're not going to see him until his own movie, but I'm convinced we're going to either get him in Man of Tomorrow as like a post-credit scene, or we're going to get him at the end of Clayface, because who else is going to stop Clayface in a Clayface movie if not Batman? It's not like cops could stop him, bullets do nothing. So I do think he's going to be a surprise casting, but that's why I think he's been bulking up, is to get ready for the role. They're just not announcing it yet. But then something else happened today that just added more gasoline to the fire that's already raging, and that's that David Cornsweet followed Brendan Sklenar on social media. And a lot of people will come to the defense of, oh, so a guy can't follow another guy on social media. And you have to understand something. In a world where TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and all Threads, all these other things are running rampant with fan speculation, James Gunn, David Cornsweet, Warner Brothers as a whole, they know that there are fans like me, like you, like everybody, breaking down every little detail. If Brendan Sklenar walked in out of a coffee shop with a black and gray coffee cup, people would be like, that's it, he's Batman, gotta be it. No other reason why you have a black and gray coffee cup. Like that, this is just what fans do. We take every little piece of detail, every little grain of sand, and we overanalyze it and speculate to try and see if we could figure out what's going on behind closed doors. If it was in fact a nothing burger, I don't think that David Cornsweet would have done this. I think that it was calculated, and that James Gunn said, let's fan the fire a little bit. Let's have you follow him and get people talking, because James Gunn wants people speculating. He wants DC's name constantly in social media being talked about. He wants people asking him questions, and he's adding fuel to the fire. Whether or not he is in fact our Batman, I don't think that this was done on accident. I don't think it was innocent. I think it was done methodically, calculated, and I think they did it because they knew that people like me would be sitting here doing what I'm doing now, and that's talking about it and bringing publicity to what's going on over at DC. But I also think it just, like I said before, where there's smoke, there's fire, and I think it just adds to the validity that Brendan Sklenar is one of the top choices to play Batman. Now, it's only a matter of time if he gets cast or not, but he has quickly become my number one choice to play him. I think he is the perfect on-screen Bruce Wayne if they're going to go a more comic accurate route and bring the cartoon character of the animated series to life. He's just perfect. But what say you guys? What do you guys think about all this stuff that I talked about? Do you think that that means that this guy is probably Batman, or do you think I'm just really reaching here? Let's talk about it in the comments down below. And as always, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I'll catch you next time.